Before the first dawn ever touched the earth, before time began its steady march, there was heaven. A realm of endless light and beauty. Imagine a place where every color glows brighter than any gem, where the air itself feels alive with music. Imagine rivers so clear they shine like polished glass, flowing through gardens of golden grass and towering trees whose leaves flicker with silver fire. This was the dwelling place of God Most High. In the heart of heaven stood the throne, a place so full of glory no created being could look directly upon it. Around this throne, thousands upon thousands of angels gathered, each created in splendor, each singing in perfect harmony. Among these countless angels, one stood above all. His name was Lucifer. His very name meant light-bearer, and he was the greatest of all created beings. Lucifer's beauty was beyond words. His entire form glowed with the brilliance of precious stones. Imagine sapphire and emerald, onyx and topaz, all shining together in perfect harmony. His voice was the sweetest sound in heaven. When he opened his mouth to sing, it was as if every instrument ever imagined joined in chorus. His songs swept through the shining courts like waves, wrapping everything in music so lovely that even the other angels paused to listen, their hearts filled with wonder. Lucifer was wise, gifted beyond measure. He understood the mysteries of heaven, the wonders of creation, and the ways of worship. He was the appointed guardian cherub, chosen to walk among the fiery stones, the places closest to the throne, where the glory of God shone brightest, where no others dared to go. There, in the heart of heaven, Lucifer moved with grace and honor. When he passed by, processions of angels would lower their heads in respect. Even the greatest among them looked upon him as a leader. For ages uncounted, Lucifer carried out his role without flaw. He led the choirs of heaven in songs that never ended, songs that poured praise like rivers of light, flowing upward to the throne of God. His voice called the other angels to worship. His presence reminded them of the glory and beauty of their Maker. Imagine how it must have felt to stand there, so close to the very heart of creation. To feel the warmth of perfect love and the brightness of unending glory. To be admired, trusted, and honored above all others. Every creature in heaven knew his name. Every eye turned to watch him. Lucifer was not merely another angel, he was the crown of created beauty, the first among all who served. His face shone with joy as he lifted his songs to heaven. His wings spread wide in shimmering light. He carried the reflection of God's own splendor, like a flawless mirror shining back the glory it received. And for a time beyond measure, there was peace. There was only worship, only harmony. There was only the light-bearer, faithful in his place. This was the splendor of Lucifer, more brilliant than any star, more radiant than any dawn. The one who walked in the midst of burning stones. The one whose song filled heaven with joy. The one trusted to stand so near the throne that the light of God touched him more closely than any other. In that place, in that time, he was perfect, and nothing seemed ever likely to change. But even in a place of perfect light, a shadow can begin. It started as the smallest thought, so faint it seemed harmless. In the high places of heaven, in quiet chambers where no other eyes could see, Lucifer would stand alone. He would look into pools of crystal clear water that reflected his face like a flawless mirror. He studied the colors of the jewels that covered him. He watched the way his light sparkled across the golden walls. He remembered how the other angels bowed as he passed. And slowly, something began to stir deep inside him. A question. Why should I not be greater? Why must I serve when I am so splendid? At first, he turned away from these thoughts. But every time he walked among the fiery stones, they returned. Look how glorious I am, he told himself. No other being shines like I do. No other voice is like mine. Perhaps it is I who deserves the highest throne. In secret, he began to feed these thoughts, day after day. The seed of pride took root, and from pride, ambition grew. He said in his heart, I will ascend to heaven itself. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of assembly. I will be like the Most High. Soon, he could no longer keep his thoughts to himself. He began to speak to others, softly, carefully. When he found an angel alone, he would lean close and whisper, "Have you ever wondered why we must always bow? Have you ever thought that there could be more for us? Together, we could be free. We could rule." Some turned away, troubled by what he said. But others listened. And the more they listened, the more they doubted. Lucifer promised them a new dominion, a kingdom of their own where no one would command them, where they would rise higher than any had before. This was how the first rebellion was born. Not in violence, but in a single heart that forgot gratitude and began to worship itself. In the hidden places of heaven, Lucifer's followers grew in number. One by one, angels pledged their loyalty to him. Some believed his promises of freedom. Others were drawn by his beauty and power. When the time came, Lucifer no longer hid his plan. He stood before them, his face proud, his eyes burning, and called them to rise. "Today," he declared, "we take our place above all. Today, we claim the highest throne." A third of the heavenly host answered his call. And so, the peace of heaven shattered. The archangel Michael, captain of the armies loyal to God, rose to meet this defiance. Michael's voice rang like thunder across the golden halls. "Who is like God? Who dares to lift himself above the one who made him?" A silence fell, a moment when all creation seemed to hold its breath. Then the heavens erupted. Flames burst from the citadels as angels clashed in battle. Swords of flame struck shields of pure light. Thunder rolled across the skies. Rivers of fire poured from the walls as the two armies collided. Lucifer moved through the chaos, more terrible and magnificent than ever before. Where he passed, the air burned. His eyes were like twin stars, fierce and unyielding. He fought his way toward the center, where Michael waited. They faced each other, two of the greatest beings ever created. Lucifer lifted his flaming sword high. Michael raised his own in answer. And in that instant, their powers collided. A blast of light tore across the heavens, brighter than 1,000 suns. The war raged on, waves of flame and thunder rolling across golden streets. Lucifer roared his rage, driving forward again and again. But Michael would not yield. At last, Michael struck a blow that sent Lucifer staggering back. The armies of rebellion began to falter. One by one, their ranks broke apart under the onslaught of loyal angels. A final clash shook the foundations of heaven itself. And with that, the rebellion was crushed. The armies of heaven stood victorious. And Lucifer, once the light-bearer, now stood defeated. At last, the fires of battle faded. The golden halls of heaven stood silent, filled only with the soft light of eternity. All the angels who had remained faithful gathered together. They watched as the defeated rebels were brought before the throne. Lucifer, once the shining light-bearer, now stood with his head lowered. His face was still beautiful, but it had become hard and cold, carved by pride and hate. The voice of God spoke, deep and final, echoing across all of creation. "Because you have set your heart above the stars, because you have said, 'I will be like the Most High,' you are brought down to the depths. You shall be cast out forever from these heights. Never again will your place be found among the holy ones." At the far reaches of heaven, the gates opened. Not gates of beauty or welcome, but of judgment. Beyond them, a void yawned open, endless, empty, roaring like a black storm. This was the abyss, a place without light or warmth, created for those who turned away. Lucifer lifted his eyes one last time. His gaze swept across the thrones, the golden halls, the angels he once led. He did not speak, but in his eyes burned a fierce, unbroken defiance. Two angels of great power stepped forward. They took hold of the chains that bound him. And then, the sentence was carried out. The angels hurled him toward the open gates. His body twisted in a torrent of flame. Sparks flew from his form as he fell. As he plunged downward, his light began to fade. The shining jewels that had once covered him dimmed and cracked. His perfect face, once so admired, became marked by the scars of pride and rage. Behind him, the other angels who had followed him into rebellion were seized in turn. One by one, they were cast out, falling like a rain of burning stars. The void swallowed them all. For a moment, heaven itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, the gates slowly closed. The roar of the abyss grew quiet, and silence fell across the golden halls. Where Lucifer had stood, there was nothing but a faint wisp of smoke, curling upward and disappearing. The stars shone undisturbed once more. The angels took up their places, lifting their voices in a new song, one that had never been sung before. A song of holiness and unshakable faithfulness. Far below, the darkness remained. And in that darkness, the fallen prince drifted down into the shadows, his light extinguished, his name forever changed. So ended the first rebellion, and the brightest of all creation was no more.